Okay, what I'm going to be doing here is doing a little photo analysis, if you will. We have a very interesting lithograph that we're going to have a look at. And through Snagit Editor, we're going to have a look at some of the details. Let's first zoom out and show you the breadth of this image, which is quite incredible. Um, I came across this is the siege of Magdeburg in 1631, so I believe that's the 30 Years' War. Um, really extraordinary things happening in here, and whenever I see these kinds of things, I'm always like, "Wow, this is just incredible!" Because people don't really, mostly don't realize that there's a lot of things going on here that the artist took a lot of time to contemplate and record and capture. Obviously, as we look at the lithograph here, let's highlight some of the first immediate impressions. We have what appears to be command structure because of the horn presence right here. I don't know if this is some personality figure that we should be noted that should be noted. I can't tell. There's certainly no description of that being the case. There is a horse right here running away. We'll come back to that later. What's interesting is this rider has got what appears to be segmented armor, um, and he's leading or somehow in the area of some mounted figures. And in the background here, let's have a look at this. We have boats, apparently with infantry that have arrived and are firing on this star fort here. And there's some infantry that's assaulting this star fort here, and here we see some infantry that are moving forward and loading with pike units. We have some cavalry, which we'll come to in a moment, that appear to be dragoons, not necessarily cavalry with sabers and such, but they appear to be dragoons, and they're doing something very interesting. We'll come back to that. And then let's go over to we'll scroll over to if we can clear it, please, thank you. Scroll over to the right of the image, and um, we have cavalry here, some infantry that are attacking a star fort, and a bridge right here with infantry moving across it that appear to be coming from the inside of the fort. Back here, we'll note this later when we come up to it, but there's a battlement or a bastion or a fortress here that's firing, and we don't really know. We can't really see what is firing at this moment. Anyway, these troops are coming from apparently inside the fort, and there's some details here we'll cover. Very interesting. This caught my attention. I can't really remember what these are. I think this is pumps that are anchored and pumping water in or out, or sewage in or out of the town. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, then having seen this earlier, I focused on these guys. It appears to be also some defenders, maybe, firing at troops that are getting across the bridge right here. And here we have some other infantry attacking the star fort, as I said. And then we have some background. Here's a battlement right here. Let's have a look at this. That's firing at troops that are attacking this village right here. And in the background over here, we have some artillery that's firing. We've got some action going on, and I can't really tell, but there's some interesting things we'll look at here in the background. We have a in-flight shell projectile that's exploding right here, fired apparently from back here. Although that's a very interesting explosion. I believe it might be a mortar if they're sieging, and this shell is bursting in the air. Which I think is an interesting reality for the weaponry. I don't remember this being the case with mortars at the time, having a fuse that would do that. I thought they were all, well, I suppose they possibly would burst in the air if the fuse was not set right. But anyway, so then we have some action back here. I can't really make this out either. And so let's go ahead and look at the details here. We'll scan from left to right, because there's just some extraordinary things going on. Let's go ahead and start down here. Just pretty incredible. Men are standing. The cavalry appear to be dragoons mounted in armor that are standing. And as I said, we have some muskets and pikes advancing on the store fort and firing muskets from the boats. Um, and as I said, we have men getting across right here, which is interesting. I can't really tell if these are friend or foe for the town, but there's a bridge, an interesting drawbridge that if you don't notice, yeah, you really won't. You can't admire all the work that's gone into this kind of artwork. Um, just incredible. So they're getting across. I don't know, if, like I said, friend or foe, but here we have our cannon, as I illustrated before. It's firing across, supporting these cannon that are firing at these guys, assaulting the walls. And back here, we appear to have some artillery fire. And the town's on fire and burning. And way back here appears to be a camp or something, possibly. Um, And take note the fact that we have the mid-European, Northern European windmills, which caught my attention because I saw these Xed things and like, did they cross something out? These are windmills in the background. So I thought that was very interesting to highlight. Um, let's go across the background here. Some numbers represent spires, churches, and there are coming up. Here's our airburst there. Um, and then we see some other burning going on back there, some action infantry here or something. And then there's some troops coming from back here, by the look of it, a flag or something. Uh, Maybe that's a flag, and these are troops coming from a camp, or arriving troops assaulting this side of the town. Hard to say from this lithograph what's really going on back there without some kind of written detail. But anyway, very interesting, fascinating stuff. Here we see what appears to be more men. By the look of this puff of smoke that the artist does, these would appear to be musket fire, and there appears to be something happening back there that we really can't determine. And again, here are these boats that there appear to be many of them, and it looks as if they're being fired upon, but obviously not. There must have been something off. Or maybe this cannon is apparently trying to assist this fort. Can't really say for certain. But the men are firing down. I have to say that it looks like a very modern fort for 1631. If you ask me, this looks as if it was drawn in the 1700s about this battle, because this siege, because that looks like a very modern fort for the time. Oh, and there's a pike unit in there. Look at that. Look at that. There's a pike unit with muskets around it, getting ready or something, possibly getting ready to leave or counterattack or just arrived or something. But I did not notice that at first. Look at that. Hard to notice that. Hard to see that. There's actually a pike unit in there, and the men are advancing, and they're all firing at once. It seems. Look at even from back here. Even from back here, they're all firing, which I gotta believe is dangerous. Anyway, an interesting thing is here. Look at this. The artist has drawn the trees bending in the wind, so we can see that the perspective, the realism here is that the battle, the wind is carrying apparently this direction. Actually, that's a little bit possibly an error on the artist's part, because if those trees are indicating wind, then these boats are in the wrong direction. They should be the other way around. Could be an error. Yes, it appears that the direction, well, the smoke back here doesn't seem to indicate a direction per se of the wind. But there we go. There's a little photo analysis. Hope you enjoyed that. It's kind of interesting.